Hey, how's it going, everybody? Sarasota Tim at the airport here in Tampa, Florida. I've got my Spirit Airlines bag that's going to fit in a little metal checking thing, and anything more than a comb and they charge you. I'm going to give you my review of my very first Uber ride I ever had in my life. And I'm telling you what, if it gets any better than that, I don't want anything to do with it. So Mr. Jim picked me up. They notified me on a text saying your driver James will be arriving, and he's driving a white Camry, and make sure the license plate matches this number and that his photo ID before you ride. And that's kind of cool, for security. And so we're talking, man, we talked. This guy was so interesting. But when we were talking, I was referring to James, James a few times. He goes, "You can call me Jim." So I started calling him by the name he wants to be called. And he took me right here. Listen to this. I'll just give you a couple of the highlights. Okay, first of all, Jim is 80 years young. He's performed at Carnegie Hall. He's a professional photographer. He lived in Alpharetta, Georgia. He lives now in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. He does the Uber thing just for, giggles. He's got a beautiful white Camry. The man, he's got all the toll passes, the expressway lane passes. I don't want to tell you what speed we drove. 80 years young, sharp, conversationalist. Jim even smelled good. He was a designer. He took photos of designing stuff, and he had a smart looking shirt on. He was extremely polite and courteous, and I enjoyed it very, very much. I was supposed to get a Miss Cherry with an HRV Honda, and her picture showed up when I first booked it. But apparently at the last minute, things can change logistically, or they take another lift or something. But Mr. Jim, he only does the airports. He does Tampa and Sarasota. That's all he does. And he just picks them up, and he's got the little camera that hangs underneath his mirror that's videoing the front. So if he got an accident or something happens, he told me one time something did happen, and so he got that camera afterwards. But his car was spotless. He was spotless. We talked about everything. I couldn't get a word in edgewise, and you know me, man, I'm talking. So I have had the best experience so far. I'm up here quick. I'm 2 hours ahead. I'm flying out of Spirit. This is my big time bag. It's gonna fit in that little metal box that you have to drop your bag in. If it's any bigger than that, they want to charge you like $100. Spirit Airlines will wear you out. If you book with Spirit Airlines for $50 like I did, you're going to get emailed 3 times a day up until you're probably bored, wanting to sell you insurance, baggage, upgraded seats, Wi-Fi, something. They don't want you to pay the $50. And so some of the stuff they were trying to upsell me was more than my ticket cost. I'm like, for an hour and a half flight, I could stand in the aisle. Give me a discount, I'll stand up. No, but I'm just saying, this is how they make money. And I can see how a lot of people probably bite and buy the extra, upgraded seat that might not be that much of an upgrade. I don't know. But then again, if you don't buy anything from them, they may put you in the tightest seat that you'll learn a lesson and never fly that way again unless you do buy an upgraded seat or you don't fly them again. So we're going to find out. I have no opinion yet. I have not boarded or anything like that. I'm really early, and I'm just going to walk around the airport here and see what it's all about. This is the first time I've flown. I can't tell you when the last time I was at an airport. Besides picking somebody up, I dropped Fred and Rafaela off some time back. In fact, where is the airport? He dropped me off at this. They ask you on the Uber, are you checking bags? No. So it just drops you off in this no man's thing upper deck here that you just kind of walk in with your own thing. So I guess I go up these stairs here, this escalator, and get on up there. Now in my olden days, I'd go to the bar or something like that, right? Start pounding down drinks. We're not doing that. But so far, it's very exciting to know that I'll be back in Atlanta, back at my camper, doing my thing. This morning, I thought about the Honda Goldwing that I bought, and I'm telling you, I was already thinking about selling it. Just kidding. But really, that was trying to get back in the saddle and get my sea legs again. That was an arduous 2-day drive with the rain. It wasn't even hard rain. Wearing all that stuff, which I'm used to living in shorts for the last 25, 30 years. And then when I hit Florida, I went from this beautiful weather up in Georgia to this 91 degrees, a mile from the sun. I'm not even used to it anymore. I was burning up. Wearing all that suit stuff and that full face helmet. And then when I got home, I think the last time I got gas, the gas pump said ethanol and non-ethanol. And I might have been confused from being in the heat too long or something. I might have put the wrong fuel in. Ethanol, non-ethanol is pure gas. And so the Goldwing started doing this pulse idling. Let me know if you know anything about it. It started doing this pulse idling. That ain't right. It's supposed to just hum, just supposed to hum. And I noticed that, it never did that since I've been an owner of it and riding it around Georgia. And then I was buying gas when I needed only about 2 gallons because that was enough time to sit in the seat. That's all I could take as a newbie again. And then when I got very close to being here, that's when I started, I'm like, oh, this isn't normal. With it, the RPMs were revving up and down. It wouldn't shut off and it wasn't sputtering. It was just, so I've asked Gork on the AI and everything, and it could be trash in the fuel, water in the fuel, or likely what it sounds like is I did put in that, I'm confused. I don't know whether I put in the ethanol or the non-ethanol. I think I put in ethanol. And so that's probably got the ECM, electronic control module, ECU, whatever they call it. A computer is not understanding it. Also, one other thing was going on with the Goldwing, this is why I wanted to sell it, is the windshield is electric, right? You push this little toggle with your thumb on the handlebar, and it goes way up. And then when you shut the engine off, or manually, it goes down. And then when you start the engine and you start riding, within like 1 or 2 miles an hour, the windshield will go back, if it was up, to whatever position you had it. It has a memory. So it's really a bitchin' feature. Well, I'm trying to show the feature to someone when I got home, and the toggle switch wasn't even working. With the engine on, off, key on, accessory, nothing. And I was very upset. I was like, well, this is a Honda. It ain't the motorcycle. Must be something I'm doing, but I was doing everything right. So I asked Gork again, Croc, whatever his name is, the AI guy, Rex. He said, hey, could have been the rainy ride, some water in the instrumentation there, but that's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be able to ride in the rain. And so the only thing that's not supposed to be in the rain is that seat I got. So anyway, it started working. And that's makes me a little, it's a little disconcerting about the engine idling up and down. Hopefully, I just filled it up. I'm not going to be riding it for 3 weeks before I get back. I need to burn all that gas out of it and put some, doesn't do any good to put a high octane in, by the way. It's a high compression engine. Google it yourself. It does do nothing for you. I just need to put another tank of good 87 in there. That's all it needs. I learned that a long time ago. Putting a high test doesn't do you any good with a high compression engine. So I just hope that when I get back and I burn that gas out, ride it up and down 75 and fill it back up. I might only burn a gallon and put some good gas in there and try to get it mixed up or something. I hope that is the fix and it's not some kind of electronic thing, fuel pump thing, something, I don't know. Because what could go wrong with them, right? So I was like, I'm gonna sell her. Let me end the video with telling you a little joke, because you guys all know, you can't believe a damn thing I say. But I was in love with the bike before I actually saw it, bought it, or anything, when I learned about the color, the low mileage it had, the features I was getting. And then when I got it and he started it, it makes a very hard starting sound, like this big knock that is concerning. I hear it every time. As soon as he started, I go, I know why he's selling it and why the other guy sold it. This thing's got a problem. It's a limit. And I don't know, I kind of accepted the fact that's just a characteristic of the way they start and the way they run. And so I was back to 95%, loving it. And then I drove it a couple of days, and when the first time I rode it, I'm like, oh, this thing's still heavy. This is a heavy bike. I forgot. Now, all the YouTube videos talk about how heavy they are, but they handle like they're nothing because of all the weight being down low. And so I went down to about 85% in love. And then the next day when I rode it and I got more comfortable with it, and my sea legs came back, and I'm like, oh, I got this. I'm back up to 100. And then when I left, after riding it a couple of days and had to leave in cooler weather, not cold, hit the rain, was wearing some attire that was very tight fitting because I had some underlayers underneath it to stay a little warmer. And, you know, wearing all that stuff, and I hit the rain. I couldn't get the distance I wanted to get on my first leg. I only got to wherever that Motel 6 was. I didn't get to Valdosta, or certainly not Lake City like I wanted to do on my first leg. And when I had to deal with that rain, then the next morning it was still raining. Now I'm down to like 75% in love. And so I then hit Florida with the heat, and the engine started pulsating like that. And now I'm down to like 60%. Sell it. And then when the windshield didn't work, and then I woke up this morning thinking that the gas thing is going to work itself out. And the windshield, you know, maybe it did get a little wet or something like that. So I'm going to just, you know, roll with that. But I'm back into pretty much in love with it, and I'll keep it for now. Otherwise, I'll sell it. But right now, I think I'm going to keep it. But you guys know, you can't believe a damn thing I say. So I'm an owner. Also talking to Fred and Raphael. I want to thank them very much for hosting me last night. She made me a wonderful bacon, sausage, scrambled eggs, coffee, heavy whipping cream. She bought it specially for me yesterday at BJ's. I slept on a king-size air mattress in her living room. Had the big TV going on, the conversation, everything. And then dinner last night was a London broil with some vegetables, some salad. And I'm going to give you TMI. This is way too much information. But since I come off, I'm not coming off. I am carnivore. But since I kind of broke my own rules and had that carnitas with the beans and rice and the tortillas for my treat to myself when I got to Motel 6 and it was right next door and I was hungry, and I had a Corona with lime, a non-alcoholic beer, I threw down. I got everything I wanted. I said, man, I could check out tonight. The Lord could take me home tomorrow. I'm going to at least go back and I'm going to at least have my carnitas Mexican dish. Well, I had that, and then I had the London broil, and I was constipated. So she gives me a little pill, and I asked Gork, whatever his name is, Rex, and he says, oh yeah, you know, it'll work, but you're going to be in that Uber ride tomorrow. You know, you better hope you got enough hours so it starts to take effect, and don't be drinking a pot of coffee the next morning. So, well, the next morning I drink a pot of coffee. I have greasy bacon and greasy sausage and scrambled eggs and a bunch of coffee with heavy whipping cream. But wouldn't you know it, before the 10 o'clock hour came where Jim picked me up in the Uber, I was ready for a colonoscopy. I mean, I'm telling you, whoo, I feel so good. I feel like, man, I was feeling bloated, and oh my gosh. You like that story? Anyway, I'm here at the airport, man. I'm a traveling man. I'm gonna get on an airplane. It's gonna be a yellow bird, Spirit Airlines, cheapest airlines in the world besides Frontier. So I gotta go find it now. It is, come on, tank, work. It's 11 o'clock. My flight's at 1, and my daughter and her friend Lisa, that I've shown you in videos a couple of times, she wants to ride down with her. They're gonna pick me up at the airport. I could have took the MARTA, a subway train that goes up closer to her house, but she says, no, you don't need to get on that. I'll pick you up at the airport. So I'm gonna have to treat them to lunch or something like that, because it's a long way to drive from Dawsonville to the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta airport. It's a piece, and there's traffic. But after the motorcycle ride, folks, I didn't have to ride to the airport here. I was hosted last night. I was fed, and I'm getting chauffeured back to Dawsonville to my camper with my daughter. We'll have lunch and whatever else they want. And then I can just chill out in the camper and prepare to do another hike. And hopefully the fall temperature will change and these leaves are going to change. And I'll be up here through the month and probably returning sometime in November, if not sooner if I get bored. And but that's the plan right now. And it is absolutely crushing life. I've procured a new motorcycle. I've got my camper up there. I'm repeating myself now. I'm all hopped up. But I'm going to tell you, folks, it don't get any better than this. If you're like me, you want to live your life, get out there and crush it.